Hi, everybody. My name is Geronda Wollack-HR Services Advisor with IDOC. And today I really want to show you how you can best leverage the new service IDOC HR Now. So some of you may be familiar with how to log into the new platform. Others maybe haven't logged in yet. And so I want to use this time to give you a tutorial on how you can get access to the platform and how you can best leverage it once you're inside. So let's get started. Before I show you the platform, what I would like to remind everybody is that you should have received an email from welcome@myhrworkplace.com with a username and a link to create your password. If you have not received that information yet, please reach out to your practice development managers and they should be able to resend that email for you so that you can get logged in. So once you're ready to log in, you're going to go to thinkhr.com. So you'll see this page, and I'll type in here thinkhr.com, which will bring you to this page, and you'll see Mineral. An announcement has gone out that has information about ThinkHR switching their name and branding to Mineral. So you will now see this Mineral page. When you're ready to sign in, you slide over here to sign in. Click on the sign in button, and you are a ThinkHR customer. So you would click on ThinkHR customer sign in. And for me, I was already signed in, but it should actually bring you to this login page with our IDOC logo. So you sign in with your username and the password that you received in your email or the link that you created your password with. And you will see this page right here, which is your IDOC HR Now access page. This is the home page where you can access different services that we have available to you. The first that we have available to you are the HR advisors that come with this platform. How you access the HR advisors is you see this little button down here, or I should say little square, where you can either call the hotline advisors with this number. They're available 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific, Monday through Friday. Or when you hit this plus sign button, you can ask your question here, and it will be sent off to an advisor who will email you or call you to support you. So let's say your question is, do I still need to offer COVID leave to staff? You then choose the category, which is, in this case, leave of absence. You put in your number of employees, we'll say there's 7. The type of company, which is private, and the city and state. So I am in Seattle, Washington, so we are going to use that. You hit submit, and now your question has gone off to the hotline. What's also nice is once you submitted your question to the hotline, but even if it's a phone call, you go straight up here to this block where it has the different offerings, and you click on advisors. This is going to give you a list of all the questions that you have asked the advisors, along with details for when they respond. So you'll have their response here, and you'll have the question that you've asked so that you can keep a record, and you don't have to try to remember what was that question that I asked them last week, or if you'd like to follow up as well. You will also get an email once it has been submitted. So here is my email that I've received saying, thank you for reaching out to the hotline, and also with their response time and when they'll get back to you. What's nice about the hotline as well is they get back to you primarily within the same day, but at least 24 hours. So if you need any immediate response, it's recommended that you use the hotline for those types of questions. So back to the home page. And now this is the advisors. Again, you can call or you could submit a request. Then what's next is you can create your own living handbook. It's customizable by federal and state laws. And you can also print your handbook as a PDF, save it to your practice server, And it's your own handbook builder. So if you need to make a change to your handbook, you can now make a change to your handbook in this particular platform versus having to open a Word document, make an edit, reformat, update your table of contents. It's all so much easier for you to do right here at your fingertips. So to get access to your handbook, you can do this in two ways. You can either click this handbook button up here, or where you see Living Handbook, you can go to Create. I generally go to Create. It's a little bit easier, and it'll bring you to the questionnaire that you'll have to answer to get your handbook built. So you do a handbook name, which will say IDOC Handbook Demo. It says already it's a federal and one state. The company name will say is IDOC Demo. You put your practice name here. You can upload your practice logo if you do have one. It must be in JPEG, PNG, or GIF format. You can put what you'd like the practice to be referred to as. So it can either be referred to as a company, or it can be referred to as a practice, whatever feels right for you. So we'll say practice right now. And how you refer to employees, they can be staff members, team members, or employees or associates. Let's do staff members. Head of the company is the practice owner. So we will say Dr. Wollack, and they are the practice owner. Primary contact, if you do have an office manager, that might be a good primary contact for any questions that the staff member has. They can be directed right to your office manager. So you put their name first. We'll say John Doe, and they are the office manager. Now I'll choose the state. So I'm going to choose Washington because that's where I am. You add the state, and you put your number of employees. We'll say 7. Once you have all of this filled out and it all looks good to you, then you go to the right here and you click Save and Review Policies. You're going to receive a disclaimer that I recommend you go through before you start building your handbook, and then you hit Agree. So once you've hit Agree, now it's going to bring you to your handbook. So this is now the handbook I created for 7 employees in the state of Washington. And what's nice is that you get these federal policies, general policies that you would always need in a handbook, like that's why they're designated as core policies. But then when you scroll down, you're going to get your state-specific policies that may impact employees based on where the practice is located. So let's say, for example, you open up the welcome and you want to make a change to a policy. A lot of our members like to customize and tailor their policy for their welcome to their handbook. So you click on welcome policy, and you see that there's wording in here already. All you have to do is make changes. So let's say you don't want any of this to be in here at all, or you want to update a sentence or two. It's just like in a Word document where you can just change something to say, thank you for joining the practice. We are so glad to have you. And then you can update whatever you'd like. If you don't like what it says and that's all you want it to say, you can take this away and hit Save Policy to the right. Anytime you make an update in here, you're going to want to hit Save Policy. And then if you're ready and you want to go back to a handbook, you scroll up here and you hit this little left arrow that's going to bring you back. So now it's been updated to this. Another key feature that is very helpful when you're building a handbook is sometimes you're not aware of policies that you're going to need in your handbook versus policies that are required. So when you are looking through your handbook, you'll start to notice that next to the policies, there are different characters or different little features. So this is your policy types and your policy key right up here to let you know whether a policy is required. If it's optional, you can customize and add in a practice policy, which I will show you in 1 minute. And then you can also decide, this is a best practice policy, but maybe you don't need it in there. So let's say you don't need a policy around posting of openings. What's nice is that these little green buttons here are the ways that you can remove a policy from your handbook. So these are already removed. So let's say you actually want it to be in there. You click on this little toggle here, and that is going to now add it into your handbook. So now you click on this, and it's now going to have this information in your handbook. And what you'll notice is every time that you open one of these policies, up here is going to tell you whether this policy is enabled, which means the policy is in your handbook, or if the policy is not enabled and it's not going to show up in your handbook. You can also preview the policy to see how it looks, and you can then go back and edit. Again, to go back to the policies and look at every policy in your handbook, at the top left arrow here is going to help you to do that. So now you see that this, for example, is a required policy. So you definitely do not want to take this out. If you look at some best practice policies, let's say you don't do business expenses, again, you just go all the way over here to this green toggle, you click that off, and when you click on the policy, it's been disabled right here at the top right. So you're no longer going to see this in your handbook once you're ready to print it out. Now, let's say you finish your handbook, you've made the updates that you already need, and you're ready to distribute your handbook to your staff. Up here, when you are looking at all the policies in your handbook, up at the right, you'll see an actions toggle. Under actions, you can link custom policies, you can create a handbook, you can download as a PDF or Word, or you can view the activity stream. Now, if you view the activity stream, what it's going to show you is every step that you've taken so far in every policy. So if I've changed the welcome policy, I have enabled posting of job openings, I took away business expenses. You can see when all this has taken place, and you can view details on it. So you can see what the policy language is, and you can see that you've taken it out of your handbook. Now, I do want to go back for a second before I show you how to download, because I did mention I would teach you how to make a custom policy. The best way to do that is, it's again, still under actions at the top right. And let's say you want to create a policy around eye care benefits that you offer to staff. So you click on link custom policy. And what's going to happen is at the bottom here, you're not going to see anything yet. You click new custom policy. You want the internal name, we'll call it eye care benefit. You want it to be displayed also as eye care benefit. And you want to have it auto include in new handbooks. So any handbook you create for your practice, if you want to make a brand new one, if you want to update one, this is always going to remain in your handbook. So you type in what you'd like in here. We'll say employees receive 50% off frames as an example. When you go and you hit save policy at the top right here, and when you scroll all the way down, you'll see that this is now a policy that has been linked into your handbook. So it's very easy to add custom policies that are practice specific that generally would not be added in your handbook. So now your handbook is complete. You have the custom policies that you'd like in there. You also have taken out policies you know you don't need. You've made some changes inside of certain policies in terms of language. Now you go to action. And I always recommend that you download your handbook as a PDF. The reason for that is when you save the handbook to the practice server or you distribute it out to staff, no changes will be made in terms of language for your handbook, which could impact the compliance of it. So now when you click on, you download your handbook, you'll get this beautiful PDF copy where you have the table of contents. You'll have all the different policies. If you had a logo, your logo would be included. I'd like to also point out, it'll show you the most updated date that your handbook has been updated by you. And you'll just be able to go through the handbook and make sure it's the way you like it. So again, I recommend when you download a handbook, download it as a PDF, save it to the practice server for employees to get access to them. And then when they are ready, they can sign acknowledgements, which that's the only page that you really need to print. And they sign the acknowledgement and you keep it in their employee file. So that is handbooks. Again, if you want to go back to the home screen, you hit this, you go up here to these categories, you can hit home. And the last section that I'm going to show you now is comply. So again, you can either click on comply up here or click search down here. This time I'm going to click it up here. So in this comply section, think of this as all the compliance documents that you might need to run your practice. So where I usually direct members to are forms and documents and resources. And I always recommend that you poke around in these other compliance sections here, but you also can use the search feature if you want to look for, let's say, a hiring policy. And it'll show you all the hiring policies. It'll show you by state, things that you might need for your specific state. To the left here, you'll also notice that depending on the document, you'll see these little letters next to each document. Here is your content type. So is it commentary? Is it a checklist, tools, forms, links, webinars? So you can differentiate what each document is so that you can understand, is this going to be a webinar? Is this going to be something that is a policy that I can print? Is it a checklist? And etc. So when I direct members to forms and policies or resources, when you go to forms and policies, you generally will look at hiring forms or management forms, just different forms. So I always recommend poking through all the forms that you would like to have available to your practice. So let's say, for example, you would like a applicant screening. What's nice about these forms and documents is you can save them as a Word document, you can save them as a PDF, or you can print them. So you can have them available to you, you can get access to them. And if you want to look for other forms and policies, again, these don't go away as you change pages. So you can click on forms and policies again. And let's say you want to look for management forms and you would like to have an absence request form for vacation or sick time. Again, you download it and you open it and there's your form. So the nice part as well is that, again, you can download them as a Word, save them, hand them out to employees, post them. If you'd like to make them into a custom policy in your handbook, if it's not in there already, you can do that as well. So forms and policies is a really great place to start. I also recommend that when you are looking at forms and policies, we do have practice-specific policies housed on IDOC.net in your IDOC login. Under HR services, there are many forms and policies for your handbook or in performance management and the like. So you can look there as well. When it comes to resources, there are HR hot topics, or I generally direct people towards the quick guides. So things like a guide around new hires. And this is an onboarding checklist. So this is an entire guide of information that you would need to be able to understand for the onboarding process, but also it's a great checklist for you to go off of when you're hiring a new employee. So again, you can print this, save this as a PDF, save this as a Word. You can save it as a Word and make some changes to it, and you can give it to a new hire before they start. So when you are done in this area, you can go back to comply and you can go back to these sections. What's also nice is that there are laws that you can see based on your state. So in the state of Washington, I can check to see if any laws have changed that are more recent. So for this month of October, it looks like minimum wage has been announced to be $14.49 beginning January 1st of next year. And so I will always be able to be up to date on state laws for Washington. And if I just want to know about a law for a particular topic, for example, let's say, do I need to offer background checks in the state of Washington? You also have different categories and topics here that are specific to this state, and it'll help you better understand what you would need to offer for this state. Let's say paid sick leave if you're in Seattle or Tacoma, and it helps to give a description of the entire law or entire update. And what's also nice is that if you are having trouble interpreting this law, you can go back to the advisors and you can ask them to help you dissect this law in particular. And so with Comply, I always advise going through every section, just getting a look, getting familiar with what's in here. But the 3 sections I generally will go through are forms and policies, resources, and state laws. Something else that I would love to point out to you is that when you sign in, next to your initials, there's this bell. This bell will also give you updates on state-specific laws, changes that took place for your handbook, any policies that need to be reviewed and added to your handbook to keep it compliant, which is also sent to your email address. So going back to the home page, this is what we are offering to you for IDOC HR Now. It comes as part of your membership, no additional cost to you. So you will have received an email from welcome@myhrworkplace.com. Again, if you haven't, please reach out to your practice development manager to get access so that you can start plugging and playing in here and getting your HR needs responded to immediately. If you do have any questions about this new platform or HR questions in general and you don't know where to go, please feel free to reach out to hrservices@idoc.net. And with that, I hope you have a great day, and I hope you take advantage of this new service, IDOC HR Now, that comes as part of your membership. Again, my name is Geronda Wollack, HR Services Advisor for IDOC, and I hope you have a great day.